Hi, this is Sylvia, Lydia, Morelos. Finally gets a little quiet around here. Got all the illegals out. And cheap labor out. I'm just having gray hair. My gray hair for a while now, which is nice. When you go through something like this, you experience a lot regarding identity and growing as a human being, things like that. So there's a lot of internal changes happening as well as physical changes. This is only temporary. I usually look a lot better when I am doing better. Well, it's extenuating circumstances. We're on the ball about it. A lot of us and federal government, military, things like that. The Department of Defense rocks. You can see it online. It's effective what we do. And illegals, no more. And they keep coming onto campus and stalking and threatening people on campus. UCPD facilitates by not responding when they should have. It's their friends, prejudicial treatment for their friends, cheap labor included. Bye bye, Deanna Almanza. You just really fucked up, man. And she's been inciting to hate crimes from San Francisco and Alameda, and boy, did she fuck up. And she's connected to cheap labor and illegal immigration, all kinds of crap. And she affects the homeless population, the good ones, people who just needed the services, who passed away because the demographic within the homeless resource centers and the shelters affected them because they were very violent. And Almanza coddled them and helped them and facilitated and participated. And we lost a lot of good people because of that. And San Diego, a lot of the homeless were brutalized. And San Diego behavioral health had everything to do with it. Illegal aliens, cheap labor, Chris Gillibo's type of people. Resnick Neuropsychiatric Institute, cheap labor, same difference. Stephanie Racino's MSW, Ana Margarita Garcia, LA High School. And I've been dealing with political targeting since I was in elementary school, at least fourth grade. It affected my brother, affected my family. Political targeting, Ronald Reagan family. And tomorrow is President's Day. Government offices will be closed tomorrow. And government offices will be closed tomorrow, so it's President's Day. So it should be an interesting day. We are Ronald Reagan, my brother and I, Bobby. We're the only two survivors of everything they've done to us over the years. And this is in honor of the presidents who passed, and the presidents who passed fighting the Third Reich as well afterwards. We took it down the Third Reich in the United States, and they come back swinging. You know what to do. You can see it online. The Department of Defense is us. It's me. Department of Defense is us online. It's me. I'm effective. They're backing me up no matter what. And they're coming around again. Looking for trouble. And they're very horrible people. This is my alma mater. There's nothing you can do about that. I graduated from this school. I was born at this school. There is nothing you can do about it. Keep moving. You'll be decapitated soon enough. And I'm glad to be of service. I'm a general in the United States National Guard myself, so everything you see about the Department of Defense, National Guard online, I am a direct part of. There's nothing you can do about it. And I'm related directly to Ronald Reagan. My grandmother was Ernestina Ulloa Orozco, military U.S. She did the same thing in Mexico. Mexico's a friend. We were Mexican, Jews, Italian, Spanish, German Jews in office, Hungarian on our dad's side, Charles Bronson, the Charles Bronson, Bobby and I are left. Jesse, the one they butchered in San Dimas, was the third Charles Bronson. They had 3 children only. The rest were foster kids that we took in as CIA. They have nothing to do with us other than that. Kin, nothing, zero. They pose a danger to their families, so for terrorism related, and so we took them in. And we lost a lot of good people. We lost good people, but we've been taking them down over the years since First World One. For First World War, you see the middle name of my mother, my middle name, dealing with occupying illegal alien. That's my middle name, Lydia. I was born in 1974. I was discreet the way we were taught to be, and my job in a cover in a magazine, Entertainment Weekly, it's great. We're on time. We lost a lot of children, including our own. We lost at least 4 children in our family, 2 of mine, 1 Bobby and 1 Jesse's, infants, and that was brutal. So I'm coming at this as a female, as a woman, as a Jewish woman, Ronald Reagan woman, a mother who lost her mother and grandmother to these people. Can't say I haven't had patients myself. And how dare they come onto campus to mock me. We killed your brother, we killed your mother, we killed your grandmother, we raped your father. And they did the same to Bobby. And thinking to myself, knowingly I have to look these fuckers in the eye every day, knowing exactly what they've done. And I'm thinking, I'm just biding my time, just like I read in the paper. There it is. Other people they've hurt. And it looks like the wall from Rachel's Women's Center. Someone's backbone, and they still don't learn. They're in the middle of their victim's school. Lots of them. Santa Monica's the same way. You take a look at Santa Monica at night, you will see the murals on the wall. They're not in the favor of white supremacists. At all. 10 to midnight, anyone? My brother, my father, Charles Bronson, was on that fucker, chasing after him for sexual predatorial rapist behavior on a college campus, and they're still coming onto campuses. You think they'd learn by now. So my grandmother, next month is Women's History Month. Since I'm celebrating women. Wow. My grandmother, my brother and I's grandmother, Bobby, you're talking to me. You're talking to me. I always miss my brother. I have him in like my little heart here and miss him very much. Like it's like he's a part of me. It's like he's my other half. It's like my twin. You're like my other half, dude. I miss him very much. What else? Lo quiero mucho. And I don't know what, intimidation, things like that. Anyway, next month is Women's History Month. Our mother was Sergeant Lieutenant, and I'm very proud, Sergeant Lieutenant Sylvia Leticia Garcia. Garcia is her maiden name, was her maiden name. October 29th, 1956 is when she was born, Torreon, Coahuila, Mexico. She's Mexican Jew, Miss Michelle Phillips from Mamas and the Papas. Then she followed in my grandmother's footsteps. She loved my grandmother. Oh my gosh, she loved our grandmother so much. She loved her mother. And to Mexico became Beatriz Adriana. She became Beatriz Adriana in Mexico. Very beautiful lady. And my grandmother is none other than Marilyn Monroe. And then she became Maria Felix in Mexico. And her older brother, my grandmother, her brother, her twin, John Wooden, and then Ronald Reagan were related to another beautiful woman, Anne Frank, Jewish Anne Frank, Jewish Holocaust. And we're also related directly. We're related directly to Amelia Earhart. So the women in our family have always been very powerful, very beautiful women. They've always been through a lot. Frida Kahlo is another one, ancestor of ours, and there's we have something to do with Che Guevara. From my understanding, my brother looks a lot like him, so I need more information on that. And from my understanding, our grandmother told me when I was 15 years old, I used to live off of 20th and Maple, 448th and 1/8 East 20th Street, Los Angeles, California 90011. For 4 years, I lived at 20th and Maple downtown, and I grew up very happily there. My high school years. Um, anyway, there's a Ronald Reagan tree across the way, high school, and fuckers are coming and swinging. They're gonna hurt. In and out of there's something going on in and out of the male restroom. So tomorrow's President's Day. It's a national holiday in honor of President's Day. Ronald Reagan was president of the United States, our family, in the 1980s. And he was the governor of California before that. So they're barking up the wrong tree. He was governor of California, Mr. Ronald Reagan, and then he became president of the United States. In the meantime, we had to lay low with regards to what we were doing with the Third Reich in our own backyard. Marilyn Monroe and Frida Kahlo. I took a look at some of their eyes. The eyes capture a lot, and there's so much pain in her eyes. Frida Kahlo, when I took some looks at some portraits, there's a book that I saw in her eyes. They're beautiful eyes, they're original. And she's carrying a little monkey on her back. That says a lot because Ronald Reagan had a monkey too, and guess what that is? She infiltrated Las Cachuchas. She wasn't a communist. I didn't like that. She infiltrated as a special agent, and she went in there to infiltrate, not to become a communist. But she's not a communist, idiot. She was married to Diego Rivera. He painted a mural for Rockefeller. So come on, let's think here. And Amelia Earhart, I look at pictures of her. A historian tried getting our attention and my attention online. I watched a video about her, and she's got the same smile that my mom had. It's possible to have similar traits. I think I look a little bit like Norma Jean. I was looking at Norma Jean's pictures the other night online. I mean, I'm kind of a mess right now, but I'm Jewish, Mexican, Hungarian, Spanish, Italian myself, and I looked at her pictures online. I'm like, I look a lot like Norma Jean. She was that was the name our grandmother used before she became Marilyn Monroe. And it's beautiful women, very beautiful women, but they had to deal with a lot of sexism and rape, and all because she was who they were and what they represented and what they had. They come from a very wealthy family, obviously. From my understanding, my grandmother told me that she was married to a tall Italian military man. Turned out to be Walt Disney. Walt Disney was married to my grandmother, and she kept it to herself the entire time. My grandmother. What do kids normally do when their parents are in danger? Out the door. I'm gonna be like, nope, you get back here. You're not gonna do that. So she kept us protected and she kept us safe. And can't wait to see Bobby. Beautiful Bobby. Oh God, and I miss my mother, and I miss my grandmother, and I missed out on my father. And one of the things that my grandmother told me, a couple of things about my dad. She said, when you were little, or my mom, when you were little, my grandmother said, we have some perps in the back. It's still disturbing. When you were little, your dad sat you, when you were 4 years old, your dad sat you on his lap, and you were like pretending that you were driving, And my grandmother said, your father was a very good man. The only vice he had, and I doubt that too, is alcoholism. And then she said that he used to work with computers in the 1970s. And I think my mom and my grandmother told me that our mom she used to type 70 words per minute on an electric typewriter back in the 1970s. And I never heard anything but, our father had worked in a restaurant in downtown Los Angeles off of 7th Street. When I was living with my grandmother, she took me, we used to do a lot of walking down Broadway towards La Placita Olvera when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And I transferred to, I decided not to go to Jefferson. When I found out it was my home school, I decided to get a permit to go to Los Angeles High School instead. So from 10th to 12th, I attended Los Angeles High School. And we used to walk down Broadway into Placita Olvera. And my grandmother once told me that her father worked in a little restaurant downtown. So she took me one day with her to see if she was curious to see if anybody would recognize me, the workers that worked there. And I was really excited, and because I was told, your father passed away when you were 4. Your father was shot and killed in East Los Angeles when you were 4 years old. Oh, um, I didn't know that. And my mom tore all pictures of him, like all of them, so I didn't know what he looked like. So that's how I grew up, thinking that my father was dead, that my mother was on welfare, she was undercover, and that very low key. But at the same time, she was raising a family as a single parent and fighting the Third Reich. So it's a kind of pain that these bastards, because I remember all the perpetrators since I was little, mine included. I was never raped as a child. My brother was raped as a child, and that really angers me, so I'm very protective of him. Walked into FedEx one day in San Francisco, and I see this poster around winter with a little boy with something under his nose, looked like little blood. They were just, like the little baby with the, making fun of the little black girl with the red. I was aghast, and I'm like, yeah, it's indescribable, the kind of anger and hatred and pain. But I'm very disciplined, so I discipline myself and maintain objectivity. And yeah, it's not. I lost a lot of family, but my brother and I lost a lot of family. So we're really we established a close bond, because Jesse was also pretty horrifying what they did to him. He was more vulnerable, and they butchered him in San Dimas. Veterans for Peace, Steve Davies with the NSA, Santa Monica on Sunday said so, and did volunteer work. Figured it would, they do something right by them and straighten out the crosses, Then I took one day. I went, you didn't, you did, you didn't, you didn't, Michael, you did. Found Jesse, so I have a excuse. I'm not trying to be indiscreet, but I have a birthmark. You can see it. This little birthmark right here. Little birthmark like that. There goes that one right there. Jesse had one on his leg or on his tummy. I turned the cross around, one of the crosses I had, and it was a copy of. It was a little outline of a birthmark. They drew detail on the crosses that they used every Sunday. Jesse's was one. The very first line, I'm like, you didn't, you didn't, Michael. Then the cross next to him it looked like DreamWorks, Steven Spielberg, a little boy jumping off the plank. And so it was not to no avail that I did there doing volunteer work. I paid attention to detail. I figured it's open air, it's going to help me out. It's stress reliever. It's a Sunday, This is a day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, And I want to focus on my family right now, so I have a lot to say about it. They keep getting in my way because of it. Next month is Women's History Month. Tomorrow's President's Day. And these are legal. They're still coming on campus. This is UCLA. So, yeah, and so I started looking at stuff. When we were little, we used to watch little programs. The Brady Bunch, Laverne and Shirley, I Love Lucy, Bewitched, Kiss My Grits, Alice, Charles Bronson, The Streets of San Francisco, Chips, Adam 12, lots of good stuff. The music was even better, so I focused on music. MTV was always on. My grandmother continued it. In Spanish, Mexican stuff, I just kept it to myself, and I remember a lot of detail, everything, and kept it to myself. Michelle Phillips and Mamas and the Papa. She listened to California Dreamin', and she is Michelle Phillips. That's what she used to look like. I saw a picture of her when she was 16. She had auburn hair, and there was a phone in the background, the Universal City Walk, Universal Studios. She had auburn hair she was sitting in front or across the way from a big phone with a dial in Universal Studios, auburn hair, and myself. And kid you not, this is what I face every day. Every day, nonstop. The violence against women. It's supposed to terrorize you. They've actually said that with the NSA. It's supposed to scare you. It's supposed to intimidate you. But that in and of itself is a crime, you moron. You know. And she's Michelle Phillips. They both became Samantha and Endora on Bewitched. Omar Palacios' ancestors on there in one scene. And they were letting people know. That was very brave, getting on television, letting people know, like Nancy Sinatra, these boots are made for walking, letting people know about the Third Reich, about Salvation Army, perpetrators of the Third Reich. My mom's wearing a red heart TLC. This is what they did to Reagan, for example. And they're saying a lot in the Bewitched episodes. And so she was Bewitched, Samantha and Endora. They have great chemistry, is what I was thinking one time when I saw them together, and Bewitched. And then she became Alicia Bridges. I love the nightlife. And when I was little, my mom used to have a huge portrait of myself and Jose Antonio Morelos, aka he was actually related. He's actually one of the kids she took in as a foster kid. Bobby ended up was living with my father, Charles Bronson, because the Salvation Army tried to make us homeless, courtesy of Nancy Durthik's Philippines. They tried to make us homeless as a family, so they split up in single parents. My father, Charles Bronson, took Bobby. My mom took me. Then together they had Jesse down the line along later. So everyone else isn't related to us at all. Now, And Bobby and I are twins, come to find out. We were born on April 20th, 1974. He was born at 4:28 a.m. I was born at 4:29. I'm his baby sister, so he's not happy that, I'm going through a lot. And I'm very, very happy to have someone in my life like my brother Bobby. It's beautiful. And he's my favorite person in the wide world. And I'm his baby sister. He's not going to be happy. Protective of his baby sister, just a minute apart. I feel the same way. Like always worried about it. After what they did to Jesse, I'm not taking any chances, And Jesse was over, that's my sister. Things like that. I'm worried about my sister. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Beautiful little boy, and very close. We're coming from a wonderful family. I think it shows, it's pained us that we've lost them, but my mom and my dad, our mom and our dad, our grandparents, and our grand uncle Ronald Reagan, they wanted us to be here. They wanted us to survive it. They wanted us to be here as well, to help others and show others, and at their own expense. They knew from the beginning that they already knew that they would, sacrifice and struggles. They wanted us here. And I love my family with all my heart, and I intend to do right by them. Bobby, anything happens to Bobby, so help me God. And they went down painfully. Mom was raped when she was 16 years old by Bono and U2. He's still stalking us, And what I was told, and my mom doesn't lie. Been fighting the Third Reich. One time she said, I have been a chain smoker since I was 16 years old. I've been meaning to decipher that. Back on the chain gang, they get it in their cheap labor, doing it all over again. So I thought she died of lung cancer at the age of 42. She died at the age of 42, all right, but it wasn't of lung cancer. And so she was the lead singer in the song Pretenders, The Pretenders, and she's implicating, or she's singing Back on the Chain Gang. Then you see when they're at the rocks that William Jackie Rose is in prison, at the rocks. So she probably knew that he'd be back out again and back on the chain again with the cheap labor. And those were all the people, it's I like being single. If I'm an old maid, which is perfectly fine. You see what I do. I've been by myself, and they came after us. They promised to go after the military kids, and they did. Last boyfriend I had was 5 years ago in April, and Clifford Karimi, aka Miguel Oaks. I recognize him at the hospitality house. I'm not stupid. But what am I gonna say to a creep like that? Creepy, right? Person of interest, war crime. You went after my mother, your father. I raped your mother. He told me that via NSA at OPCC. He works there. I raped your mother. Hmm. And John Connolly is Jonathan Ford. Years later, came after him. 2 years with John I was, and 4 years was William. He lied and told two, and John said one. Got to know a lot about them, though. And I'm like, you know what? You grew on me. I said I was miserable. Like I was a miserable bitch, like 53 pounds overweight. I'm like, not happening. I've been happy single by myself since 2012, April. Not sexually active. So I resent the whore slander, and I was in long-term relationships, but it helped me pick up information about them. So I didn't say anything about this to anyone. The government knows us well, and the military knows us well. They know what background we come from. They know that we check out. They know that our mom and our dads are military heroes, just like Ronald Reagan. He's our family. A grandmother taught me everything we know, everything I know. It's like I'm the epitome of my mom and my grandmother. Bobby is the epitome of Ronald Reagan himself and Charles Bronson. Isn't that a wonderful thing? And our mom and our dad. It's overwhelming. So I'm thinking I'm happy being single because I found my brother. We have a lot of catching up to do. And I feel a lot of introspection. I haven't had any privacy since I was 27 years old. The minute the illegals began to target me on campus at UCLA via Raul Payano Meli. I began school straight out of high school in 1992, from 92 to 96, part of 97. Then I left, tried again a couple years, 98, 99. Then I tried to finish. I couldn't finish. The Orozcos got in the way as well. So I finally finished in 2003. I transferred my last quarter units over to UCLA, and I obtained my degree in spite of them. So I have a degree, a legitimate UCLA degree, and one that these identity thieves kept stealing from me. I was it's my fucking degree. I said to them, it's my degree. I earned it. You son of a bitch. Ashley fucking Quinn and her friends, Nancy Durthakins. I was furious. It's my fucking degree. I earned it, not you. Bitch. Tried to take my UCLA alumni card too. Identity thieves. And so I was fucking furious, And they're still doing that shit. So I'm thinking I could just reorder one. Like you renew your California driver's license, you can get another degree, just pay a $75 fee, and you can repurchase your degree and have it on my wall all over again, you fucking wetbacks. I'm not the only one who hates you. You butchered a family, but we took you down since World War I. So there's a lot. You're smaller in number than you realize. Worldwide, we connected worldwide against you. You read the UN Charter. We will not employ international machinery. Translation, we will not go to war unless it's in our common interest. We're not going to war on each other over you. We're not going to war on each other over a bunch of child rapists either. That's all you. Instead, we're going to turn around and take your bitch ass out. Four on a one child, not happening. They've been gang raped since how long? How many of you gang up on a little boy or little girl? And you have to go on. A little boy said, it doesn't hurt anymore with the rapes. Got used to it. So one little boy, and you had to show me there was a black little boy, right? Walking bow-legged down the street right next to Glide, rubbing it in my face. I couldn't do shit about it, they said. Did the same thing when they stole my phone cord. Like they came up from right next to me and they showed off a little boy or a little girl, put them inside a car. I'm like, they know I don't have my phone. It's not working. Did the same thing on the other side of the Salvation Army. Um, did the same thing on the other side of the Salvation Army, 825 7th Avenue. And Veterans for Peace, 6 or 7 at a time. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're gonna hurt this kid tonight, and there's nothing you can do. Rubbing into my face that I did not have a fucking phone on me. Did the same thing. Coffee Bean, one morning on 3rd Street Promenade. David Rock, come to find out, owned it. We raped a child last night. I'm like, oh shit. And there's nothing you can do about it via NSA, illegal surveillance. Call the Santa Monica PD. We raped a child last night. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's David Rock's establishment. And this is the kind of shit that my mom and my grandmother and our great-granduncle and Nancy Reagan included. I love her. You should see the portrait. Take a good look at the portrait. Mr. Reagan has her hand on her like this. She probably said, don't say anything. It's okay. But he has her hand. You know, she's another one of the, you know, we lost our family, but they'd probably be rolling in her grave saying mija or mijo and mom over a guy. I said, not my brother, but you know, I'm a feminist, single woman. You want me to go crazy over a guy? I lost 2 kids because of you. You know, you took 2 of my children. Irregular sex, forced a fetus out of me. Irregular sex with that technology that you use, torture technology, twice. Once when I was 20. Why 6 weeks? Why 7 weeks? 20 years apart. I lost 2. Alice, 2. In 2009. So I'm like, don't fuck with a mommy scorned. Don't you fuck with a mommy scorned. You should see what they did to me, you know, at the Star of Hope Mother's Day. They handed out cakes, right? Like Mother's Day only for mothers. So I'm like, just because I don't have my children doesn't mean that I'm not a mother, right? And they didn't answer the question. So that's Deanna Almanza's facility. Come to find out in San Francisco afterwards, they kept one of the workers in the back. She almost even shoved the last 2 cakes just so that I wouldn't get one, just to hurt my feelings. Like, here, you know, something like that. So I'm like, fuck. So I don't have time to think about men. And I'm not a whore, so I'm clean. And so some of that, I was stressed out sometimes at the next door shelter, and I'm like, I can't take a shower. I need to forego a shower. And the whore is just dressing up sexy, and you know they don't take showers well, at the Westfield Mall wearing something nice and white. I'm like, and you had to go and prove my point, didn't you? You had to go and prove my point. Well, we have to take advantage of the fact that you think you're all that, and you make a big issue about being clean. I'm like, shit. And one of them actually said via NSA, you know, they're whores, but we take pride in not being homeless because their men don't keep them homeless at all. 0 homeless. I'm like, we take pride in that, not being homeless. Kike. I'm like, you do that. You take pride in not being homeless. Puta. You know, you fucking whore. So I'm thinking Women's History Month is going to be divine. So I'm 42 years old. Look at my gray. Like, you won't be able to fake this, I said. So, you know, my identity thieves. I didn't notice the gray. You don't look that old. Well, you know, I am. Now you know with the cover of my brother, you know. That's why I did this on one video I did. You know. So shout out to Bobby. I'm very protective of him. No está solito, mi Bobby. Quiero mucho, mucho, mucho. And I like my hats. I'm Special Agent Morelos, Sylvia, Lydia. I'm with the Department of Defense. And I'm also General, I made it to General Sylvia, Lydia, Morelos. You know, we're hired by different agencies at one. FBI, CIA, DHS, Secret Service, and Navy. And I make bank, dude. You know, I mean, I started not bad for a homeless bitch, I said to the ones, right? Not bad for how much I'm worth, trillion, 3.5 trillion. I think somebody said something, not including my inheritance, because it looks like I inherited something. And they kept it at the down low because, you know, there's so much that could have happened at a young age, or I don't know. but we're at the top. Don't dog the top 2 or 3%. We're really good people. We're hardworking, clean money, big money. In the Reagan family, we did a lot with big money with regards to, I don't know, I think we'd have to see it around. I don't know, you know me, I don't like white collar criminals, and they were really good people. It's difficult to explain, it's overwhelming. But I've been by myself for 5 years now. It's been excruciating. Excruciating. I go, you would think, calling me a Buddha slandering behind my back, you would think that I'd have somewhere to stay and I'd be so much fucking easier if I was a fucking whore. I would have been staying with someone. Okay? Name him right here, right now. Just name him. No, thank you. So I think about what my mother must have gone through. Never said a word, not one word. My grandmother, my father, my Ronald Reagan, Nancy, not one word about their pain, not one. Grew up a happy kid. I did. And they established the civil rights movement. Listen to what I'm saying. They established the civil rights movement. These perps that we're dealing with, they killed Dr. King, Almanza. I was in that. I killed Dr. King. Joseph at Star of Hope. We're using NSA. It's also Almanza's place. Trayvon. I killed Dr. King. OPCC. Who are you? Who am I? Why are we on you? You know, via NSA. There was one time I was sitting in front of the doorway waiting for it to open. And one of the staff, Cornell, he's also saying he killed Dr. King. They're the Black Panthers of the 1960s. These people work at the resource centers, okay? Involved with homeless resource centers and shelters. So it's like that, huh? They showed me something about Dr. King. So it's like that, huh? He was looking, they showed Dr. King looking or in shock about the people around him in the balcony. So it's like that, huh? His friend. So you're not, so it's like that. You know, he knew who his killer was going to be by the time he reached the balcony, you know, and so it's like that, huh? Cornell was right there in the room, whether he pulled a bullet. You know, I could see him. He's in the Beat It video, right next to the gang scene where he's wearing a fro, and I could see it via NSA. So it's like that, huh? Dr. King he was shocked, tears in his eyes. He knew exactly who shot him. It was one of his own, within his own unit, within those friends, or co-workers, and detail. They were protecting him or his wife. So I was not his wife, but I was thinking, I had all these ideas going in my head, you know, and TLC, tender loving care. I didn't know what else to think about anything else, but he's always been my favorite civil rights leader since I was a kid. And this came from OPCC staff, 503 Olympic Boulevard, 90401, 2 years ago, before it was illegally 86. And they said there's something to do about my grandmother's property, you know, 26 Cloverfield. I'm like, my grandma never spoke about any property, but I don't, you know, it's a conflict of interest. That's Craig A. Latham. Palin was on. There's a lot I have to talk about. A lot. But there's so much going on that when you have all this stuff to take care of, I'm sure the rest of us have stories to tell too. And, you know, the Kennedys, Roosevelt, Eisenhower, Dr. King, Bruce Lee was a friend of our family. Dr. King was a friend of our family. The Kennedys were Mr. President. They make her out to be something else, and she was reaching out to them as Jews, Mexicans. She was reaching out to them and to Mrs. Kennedy, Jackie Kennedy, and Bill wreath and the wreaths around me because I do look like Norma Jean, you know, and I was looking at myself in a little bit, and you know, I look a lot like her. All the beautiful women in our family. This is for a shout out to Bobby. That's for you too. In honor of President's Day tomorrow. Shout out to all the presidents, wonderful presidents of the United States and our friends around the world. They deserve it. They went down, and wonderful people. I don't know if I have anything in here that would. Yeah, I saw this Supergirl. That's my mom and myself, but it says Supergirl, so that's me. Defy. That's very cool. I can cut that. That's like very nice. Very cool. I've noticed other things too, and beautiful, wonderful people, the Reagan family, and this is the Reagan diary. And you see that I just found the necklace here that I scanned the other night. I'm like, that is wonderful, beautiful, and come from a very powerful political family, a wonderful family. Look at him. He looks like just like our grandmother, and it's a wonderful. There's Nixon right next to him, right? Wow, wonderful family. Look at them, the Reagans. Don't dog the Reagans. Ricardo Montalban in the background. Okay. Beautiful man. I'm very proud to be who I am. And we turn now. There's Bobby. There's Bobby. His hair, look at sweetheart. It's very beautiful. There they are. Look at that. Very beautiful. This is the way my books end up after a while, because they tear with that technology. They're easily tear everything. So I love this magazine, but they tore into it. So the uncompromising spirit. VC. I've got some cool ass motherfucking notebooks. Beware of the Salvation Army, because they're involved. Samantha and Dora depict them on Bewitched with the red dress and tender loving care, things like that. Labeling her, and also beware of religious fanatics. If you go through my stuff carefully, it'll make more sense eventually. Sex offenders. This is a sex offender place, Ike's place. Take a look at everything on it. We see, hey, sex offenders. That's from Ronald Reagan to you. And this is from Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Final destination: filthy rich die. That's the acronyms, FDR. And I'm glad to be of service every day. And I'm proud to be who I am. I think we did well. We were trained well. God bless you, Department of Defense, and the good guys, minus the traitors, military, okay, and the feds, FBI, CIA, DHS, Secret Service. We're on it together, and we've come together, and we've lost a lot of good people. And I love you guys. I love my family. I love Bobby with all my heart. And this is in honor of President's Day tomorrow. See what these bastards do, staying grounded. Sylvia, Lydia, Morelos, General Sylvia, Lydia, Morelos. That's how many lives I saved. I went from sergeant, lieutenant to general. My brother's higher ranking than I am. And Special Agent Morelos, Sylvia, Lydia is looking forward to tomorrow, and have a wonderful night. See what happens. See what else happens at UCLA on campus. It's only 6:34. Talk to you later. Bye. I'll be on Twitter, and I'll be doing some writing things. Bye. Hopefully no one will interfere with the internet things. Bye.